Big whips, big joints, big blunts, it's the Buckeye way. We rollin' nothing but that loud, Buckeye loud pack. Let's roll up Ohio. Heavy bass hits, horns rise, Mastermind Cannabis, Ohio Cannabis live. We here to unite. Let's light it up. Ohio where we roll high, big whips, big vibes, big joints, big blunts, Buckeye loud for life. From 216 to 614, we keep it lit. 330 and 740, we the ultimate. Nothing but that loud pack, the pride of the state. Roll it up, light it up, let's elevate. From Akron to Canton, Columbus to Dayton, Buckeye buzz so strong, there's no debating. You can see the smoke rise, we shining bright. Ohio loud, got us glowing in the satellite light. Ohio Cannabis live, yeah, we here to stay. Uniting 88 counties in a major way. Let's roll up Ohio, let's toke and chill. Big blunts, big joints, yeah, you know the deal. Buckeye loud pack, we blazing the game. Ohio forever, remember the name. Let's roll up Ohio, we rollin' proud. You can see the smoke from space, it's that loud. From the fields to the streets, we feel the thrill. Ohio's the anthem, let's roll and chill. We on a whole new level, Ohio's the vibe. Big clouds in the sky, Buckeyes ride or die. From 419 to 513, we keep it tight. 937 and 440, we ignite. Big joints in Columbus, big blunts in the south. From Toledo to Cleveland, we lighten the loud. Ohio's united, this our time to shine. 88 counties reppin', all on the grind. Put it in a joint, light it and smoke it, Buckeye pride strong. Ohio's the focus, from I-70 to 71 we ride. Ohio Cannabis live, keeping us unified. Let's roll up Ohio, let's toke and chill. Big blunts, big joints, yeah, you know the deal. Buckeye loud pack, we blazing the game. Ohio forever, remember the name. Let's roll up Ohio, we rollin' proud. You can see the smoke from space, it's that loud. From the fields to the streets, we feel the thrill. Ohio's the anthem, let's roll and chill. Ohio, Ohio, let's rise together. Buckeye pride, yeah, it's now or never. Big clouds, big vibes, we set the tone. Ohio's
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mastermind here for Ohio Cannabis Live. Welcome back to another stream. If you're new to my content, please do me a favor and smash the like, subscribe button. Thank you for all those who are returning viewers here. Give me just 1 second. I was trying to activate our on-screen comments so that your comments will show up on the screen, make it a little bit easier. If you're new here, we do this every Friday at 4:20. We've been doing this since 2019. And I don't know why we're having issues. This thing always acts like this. Here we go. And, you know, we have strived to help provide the most up-to-date information about legal cannabis in Ohio. And we thank all of you who have helped us get here. We are currently almost at 900,000 views. I anticipate us reaching 900,000 views today. Do me a favor, let me know what you're medicating on in the comments. Let me know what you're having for dinner, and let me know the forecast in your area right now. Go ahead and do like we do. We're doing this now. This is the viewer sponsored forecast. You're going to tell me what the weather is in your neck of the woods. So I want to know what area you're in. I don't need your address. And then I want to know what the temperature's like. Is it hot? Is it raining? Is it cloudy? Is the sun shining right now? And I want to know what you're medicating on, if anything. and what you plan on having for dinner. So all throughout the stream, take your time answering these questions. They don't all have to happen right now, but I'm going to remind you, a moderator is going to remind you, because every time you comment on this stream, every single comment helps push the algorithm to show that this video is important. The more conversations that are happening in the chat, the more it will push our stream up to the top. And so we're trying to keep this going. We're going to reach 1 million views. But today's headline, which many of you have already heard, is that Ohio lawmakers have pressed pause on Sub Bill 56. And what's different about now is that they're not going to be able to vote on it in this session. This session ends on June 30th, and it's over. Now, later on in the show, I've got a special guest. I've got my friend here, Simon Dunkle, here with the Ohio NORML chapter. He's a director of the Ohio NORML, so a very special guest to have here on Ohio Cannabis Live. And he will be with us here in just a moment. So make sure you keep watching. Make sure you share, like, subscribe to the video, and tell all your friends who love cannabis about Ohio Cannabis Live and the movement that we're trying to create here. What are we trying to do? Educate, inform, and unite. Bring the community together. Give people information. Help people make decisions about these products. Help people understand how these devices work, whether you should invest in these devices. This is not just a news channel. We don't just do news here. We do product reviews. We do discussions. We do interviews. We do town halls. We do expos. We do events. We cover events. We are the cannabis news media. And right now, I have a very big announcement that I would like to share with all of you. I literally did this right before I went live, and I don't know that, I think if I show it to you, you will be able to see it. I'm about to try to look it up right now. We'll see if it allows me to do this, because this was a big deal, and it's new. It's a new website, so it may not let me show it to you yet. But we're going to try here. I'm going to try it, see if I can look at it, and we'll see here. It's making me go through all this like formalities, you know, like the first time stuff. So it says it was published here. I'm looking for like where I can actually like view the website. It says it's published, but I have to like figure out how to get it. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me a second. Published site. Say it's published. Where is it though? All right, there we go. Here we go, y'all. I'm about to drop this link in the comments in this video so you can see what I'm talking about yourselves, but I'm going to show it to you as well. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit before we dive in a little bit more. So let me get my screen share going here. Hold on. All right, so sorry if I'm not answering comments right now, but okay, so this website here, cannabiseducationprogram.com and .org, these sites were actually started today. I bought this today. I own this. This is the Cannabis Education Program. If you saw my testimony, and if you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Go watch at the end where I directly mention CPEP, the Cannabis Education Program. And the goal here is to help people find reliable information about cannabis. I'm not trying to create another Weed Maps. I'm not trying to create another Leafy or a Dutchie or nothing like that. So what I'm doing here is different. This isn't just for Ohio. This is for the whole planet. This is a global initiative. This isn't just we're doing it for Ohio. This is for everybody. So this is a much bigger initiative that I've taken on. And this came to me in a vision while I was in the hospital. And now I intend to make that vision a reality with all the different things that I've learned, and what I'm also working on. And I know many of you probably don't know this, but there is a Michigan Cannabis Live. There is a Kentucky Cannabis Live as well. And I own those too. So, but the whole idea here is to keep building upon education about legal cannabis and help deprogram, destigmatize what people think about cannabis. Right now, a lot of people already like it, but they still don't understand it. They don't understand what it can do other than getting you a buzz or a high. Some people have learned, especially people in Ohio recently, but not everybody. But again, I just wanted to just acknowledge all of y'all that have come here over the 5-6 years we've been doing this. Jimmy, Lynette, Billy, Cleveland Crows fan. I can't name everybody. Kevin B, all of you here. We only got 14 people watching this, so we need to get these numbers up. So in order for us to get the numbers up, what I need all of you to keep doing is sharing this video with people you know that use cannabis. And don't limit yourself to sharing it with people who live in Ohio. Start sharing it to people who live outside Ohio, because there are people coming here because we're legal now. What's up then, Lizzie? Another longtime viewer of the channel. I appreciate you being here. It's all right, Jimmy. Jimmy, you've been here from the beginning. Many of you have been here. So I appreciate y'all. So again, I want y'all to really just try to continue to absorb this information about Sub Bill 56, because even though it's been paused, there's still a lot for us to help educate you on. But we're still going to have fun. We're still going to have the party. I just want to let you know, as soon as we hit the 1 million views, we'll be working on the party. I do want to let you know about the Ohio Cannabis Expo. We're working on it. We're working on it right now, and we're working on getting the venue locked down, and more details are coming. But I can tell you for sure that the Ohio Cannabis Expo will be held in Columbus, Ohio, and that is coming soon. And we will be doing other expos and other places too. So once I have all these details more finalized, where I feel comfortable discussing them with you on the internet and the whole world for that matter, I will clue y'all in on that. So again, I thank all of y'all for y'all patience with me, those who are waiting for more details about the Ohio Cannabis Expo program. But I was excited to let y'all know about CPEP and, why I call it that. But yeah, the whole idea is just to get people to learn more about this cannabis. I just also want to address the video that I put out earlier that said that there was a leaked video from an Ohio processor. First of all, I want to double down and tell you it is a leaked video from an Ohio processor. I also want to confirm there is absolutely nothing wrong with what is being shown in the video, and me shaking my head was just an awe and belief of what I was looking at. So it wasn't shaking my head to indicate there was something wrong with this product, but I just got a video from inside and I wanted to share it with y'all and get y'all's y'all feedback on it. And that's exactly what we're getting on it. So keep commenting, because that helps push that video through the algorithm. So if you haven't watched the little video I'm talking about, go back and watch that video. It's only 30 seconds. And again, keep remembering that the more of these videos get watched, the more bigger we grow as a channel, the more I'll be able to do. For members of this channel, I mentioned this and I will reiterate this and keep reminding you that as a member of this channel, if you have paid for membership and you have been a member for a significant amount of time, you've already unlocked a free clone. So all you need to do to get that clone is make arrangements to come pick it up when they're available. And when they're available, and I'll let you know when they're available, you'll email me at info@ohiocannabislive.com and we'll make arrangements for you to come pick up your free clone. If you are a gold member or the platinum member, the top membership, then you can get more clones per year when they are available and when we know that they're stable and they're looking great, because I'm not going to give you something that doesn't look like what's behind me. Okay, so you should already know what my standards are. If you know me, you do know what my standards are. For those who are watching from afar who don't know what the standards are, come see your boy. So Layer Cake is doing great. We got another batch getting ready to come down. This last batch was smalls, popcorn. I didn't get buds as big as I wanted, but the effects on it is. Tina said it's the best one yet. I would share mine, but my Facebook account got nuked after 20 years. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Jimmy, man. I'm sorry to hear that your account got nuked. So, that's why we can share it through text messages and Messenger and Instagram Messenger and all those other things. So there's other ways that we can do that. So let me just make sure my buddy Simon, you still there? Just shake your head, say you're there, buddy. Can you hear me, Simon? Just shake your head, buddy. Yeah, all right, good. You're there. All right, so I did say we had special guests here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Dunkle, and we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're obviously going to talk about Sub Bill 56 and what we think the next things are, what should be happening over the summer, because there is work for us to do over the summer. And we're going to talk about some other things that he thinks we should know about that I didn't know about. So I'm going to let him explain that. And if you're again new to my content, please make sure you do me a favor and press the like, subscribe button and share this video, because every time you do that, that helps the algorithm. If you want to support, you can support a number of ways. You can be a member. That's $1.99 a month minimum. Cancel anytime you want. You can do a super chat. Put that in here right now. Or you can do a thanks through the replay if you're watching on the replay. Our replays have been doing great. So we're doing better. Our replays are doing a lot better. But again, we are still trying to get these stream numbers up, and it's a very tough niche. You have to keep being consistent. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest today, Simon Dunkle from Ohio NORML. He's the director of Ohio NORML chapter. And let me get my little two-person screen going here. Where we are, there we go. All right. And let me make sure that I've got audio from my good friend here. Hold on, Simon. Your audio's not on. All right, Simon, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Thank you for the support, Mama Mastermind. My mom's here watching the stream, Simon, so I got a lot of pressure on me right now. I can't mess up now.
Yeah, seats don't fail me now.
Yeah, that's right. The stream don't fail me now. I figured out there was an issue with my stream where my laptop was connected to the wrong Wi-Fi. So we should get a lot better playback today. Hey, thank you, Mike. I appreciate your support. Mike is another longtime supporter of the channel. Been here with us for a very long time. Yeah, make sure you. I'm not reading it out loud, Jimmy, but follow Jimmy on Reddit at his username there on the screen. I'm not reading it out loud. Nice try, Jimmy. You almost had me. But yeah, that's my good friend there, man. Hey, yeah, everybody shout out Mama Mastermind has entered the stream, y'all. All right, well, thank you for being here today, Mr. Dunkle. I do appreciate you. And again, you're the director of the Ohio NORML chapter. Could you please do me a favor, for those who may not know, explain a little bit about you and about what Ohio NORML is, so we can all be educated?
Well, Ohio NORML is part of the national organization, which is the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Law. They were instrumental in decriminalizing Ohio back in 1975. One of the first to be decriminalized, up to 99 grams. So that kind of is where the history starts with Ohio and NORML. I became chapter president, was appointed by NORML National back in 2023, and have been working on things ever since. I've been more into patient rights, cannabis rights, patients' rights, and making sure that we keep those extended and equitable for everybody. And that's kind of was my focus. And then they came along and said, we want you to stick around for legalization and see what you can help us with there. And, here we are now. So it's kind of the short end of it. I became an advocate. I was on morphine, Vicodin, Soma, Seroquel, and fentanyl, courtesy of the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp. Quit it all cold turkey and started using marijuana at the request of my doctor. And the judge in my divorce case declared me a drug addict for smoking marijuana and took my kids. So that put me on the path 15 years ago to making sure that they, hear from me on a consistent basis. So that's kind of like I said, short notes.
Okay. And how did you get connected with NORML?
Oh gosh, I've been working with them in various capacities for quite a while. NORML, Appalachia, Ohio, they're big on decrim. They decrimmed, I think, in 36 cities and towns and like 3 million people. And was involved with them. And then did a short stint with Rob Ryan when he was in Ohio NORML, and been in and around different organizations in Ohio for the last 15 years. And like I said, they asked me to become executive director back in 2023, and I accepted. So,
Okay. All right. All right. Well, you had an opportunity to testify against uh, the Senate Bill 56, and then you also had an opportunity to testify against Sub Bill 56. Um, for those people who are still confused and trying to figure out why they should care about either one of these now that they're not voting on it, what do you think is some simple things that people should know?
well, just because they've paused the war doesn't mean there aren't going to be more battles. Um, you know, it's one of the oddest things I've ever seen in what politics I've studied over my life. Where they've legalized a commodity and then criminalized it, overtaxed it, and overpriced it, and continue to throw people in jail for it. It's a stunning thing, and it just it doesn't deserve any positive ground anywhere. I mean, you just need to fight against it on a consistent basis, because as they're pausing, we have to start to fire up on other fronts, like the 60,000 arrests they've made after legalization. We have to make something of that, just because it shows intent and purpose. Not that they haven't throughout this whole thing. I mean, if you go back to Mike DeWine's itinerary to Colorado, it was about regulation and enforcement. It wasn't about a equitable program for patients. So that's been there a while, and they just keep proving it. They just keep showing it. So we have to keep the foot on the pedal, so to speak, and bring up the 60,000 arrests and inquire as to how those qualified under the decriminalized laws that currently exist in Ohio. Because if you just look at the law that was done in 1975, that's up to 99 grams. So I don't think you're going to be able to convince me that there's 60,000 people that were arrested with over 99 grams of marijuana. I don't think the law was recognized in a lot of the cases. I think there needs to be some judicial challenge, or at least some public challenge to what DeWine and the state government machine did here. Just because the fact that they can continue to arrest means that we have to continue to fight and continue to pay attention to what they're doing, because they keep trying to tweak it to make it so that there's more regulations to arrest more people for marijuana. That's all legalization looks like it wants to be in Ohio. It's just more regulations to make more arrests on it, to make it so that you can be arrested for marijuana because it's too high over the fence, or maybe you have the wrong lock, or there's somebody that's under 21 within an eye shot of your grow or something. Just strange, odd little things they want to use and twist. So we by no means won the war. We need to get back to issue 2 and tweak that. We need the social equity. We need the criminal justice reform. We need to have discrimination language. You need to be able to use it. And right now, it's not, it's illegal, but it's not, legal for use, because you can be, have problems from everybody from state agency to your landlord. There's no coverage on the discrimination front, no right to use. And that's what we need to try to enforce and push forward.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I think that, we still need to hold them accountable for things that they agreed to do. When you mention these folks who haven't been taken care of as far as the pardon, what should we be asking lawmakers? How do we push that forward? I mean, because that seems like that's a lot of people, 60,000 people. So that's a lot. What do we need to be telling them as a unified message? What do people need to be saying?
Well, you first get on the bandwagon of accountability. Let's discuss those cases. Let's take a look at them. Let's see what the circumstances were with sample group, and then start looking at what happened. I mean, because obviously you had, I would imagine, different jurisdictions enforcing their will on people that probably shouldn't have had that happen to them because of the decrim laws that exist in a blanket way in Ohio just for the 99 grams since 1975. There's all the smaller cities and townships, and 3 million other people that have been decriminalized over and above that. So I'm sure there's some people in there that shouldn't have been caught up in it. And it needs to be more than just expunged. I mean, frankly, I don't think any of us would have known anything about it except for that DeWine came out and sort of announced it. Um, I think you asked me what my source was, and I said the governor, because
Yeah,
I mean, he's the one that admitted to it, and like he was proud that they're going to expunge them. But you've
right.
already destroyed lives, you've already manipulated the people, and you need to be accountable for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, accountability is a big thing, and I think that it's important. As his term wraps up, and for those who don't know that, this is Governor DeWine's last term, and so there will be a new governor. And I think that's something else that we need to be paying attention to is who is running for governor on both sides. Obviously, we know who the front runner is for the GOP. That ain't no big mystery. But we also need to be thinking about who's running for the other side and where did they stand on these issues. And we need to figure out exactly who we need to be getting behind in that aspect because that'll be here before you know it, right? That'll be quick.
Like Mr.
And
Flint, I mean, yeah, and the fact that we were able to get 100 opponent testimonies into the chambers at the state house and be able to sort of confound the system. I mean, we need to be proud of all the activists and everybody that went to the state house and took time out of their lives and their days to go down there and cause a harangue for these people
right
because
on.
it landed, the punches landed,
Yeah.
and we got some support from some people, and all of a sudden they're hamstrung again, and we need to keep them hamstrung until they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need to be looking forward to the future, and this is why I know people want to celebrate and think that we've beat them again, but let's be real. There was Senate Bill 9, Senate Bill 198, Senate Bill 86, Senate Bill 56, Sub Bill 160, and on and on and on.
3780, 3780. Which
Yeah, so
I got to mention this. 3780 always fascinated me because, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that on the books for like a year or so before it was even acknowledged and that we were going to use it and do it? And it was all of a sudden miraculously in the Ohio Revised Code. Do you remember that?
well,
Or
I
am I wrong?
do, and I just it's like everything that's supposed to happen, right? It's like this slow crawl. We're still trying to get things to be at a better position to where they're they're not there. I mean, I don't know how else to frame it, but I just feel like we're still in this time warp where it's legal here, but in some parts of in state, they still actually are dealing with prohibition.
Oh, well, I mean, there's over 100 communities that have been able to absolve themselves from the law. And, the fact that it's this patchwork that when we now have to go decriminalize small towns and communities again, because it's legal and they don't want it to be. And it's just a crazy circle that we don't need to be wasting our time on. There's so many more important things in society to be dealing with and trying to resolve than revamping marijuana over and over and over again.
No, I totally agree. And again, thank you, Joshua. I did see your comment there. I'm sorry, we got so many comments coming in. That's great. I thank you all for the comments and everything, the kind words that you have been saying here. And I know Joshua's been on here for a while too, so thank you for being here today. And that's what it's about, man. Is just being able to have folks on here like you, Mr. Dunkle, and others who can help try to break down the complexity of this. And I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's not complicated, it's weed. But for these changes and these things that they want to do, and I'll regurgitate a few of them again, and we can talk a little bit more on the other side of it, sir. It's like, for example, they want to make it a crime for you to have the cannabis stored in your pocket. They wanted to make it jail time if you're a passenger, not the driver, the passenger got his weed in the wrong pocket, or if it isn't up under the seat, in the trunk, and all that. Now, what I know is that um, that whole thing should just be removed. We'll just take that all the way out. But I do respect the need for education about how cannabis should be stored, as far as education about humidity, education about child lock, child safety boxes, things of that nature. I do think those things should happen. I think that's just being responsible and common sense for gee golly. So it's like, I mean, I don't think we need to make it, this big criminal thing for where your weed is at in your car. I don't support them um, basically taking one industry and collapsing it into another and then basically shunning all these people who have spent their life savings in the hemp business. I think that at the end of the day, the hemp industry and the way it was rolled out in Ohio have had a lot of issues and a lot of confusion about what is legal and what's not. It's just a disaster, to be frank.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we have added a new program now that has its ups and downs. For the most part, we rolled it out better than a lot of states and quicker than a lot of states, to be honest. But at the same time, we didn't roll out fair pricing. We did not roll out the 3B licensing program that we were supposed to roll out for people to get a seat at the table. That was the equity thing we keep hearing over and over again. Instead of a 3B license being issued, guess what got issued? The 10B license, the one where every company that already operates gets a free license. So
Yeah,
now,
these are the people that wanted you to have a political crony on your board when they were giving out licenses. You remember that? You had to have
yeah,
some of the political clout on your board, and they had to make good on some things there, if you remember. But yeah,
yeah.
there's shade under every tree here.
Now something else that I do want to say is that a lot of times there's two types of license holders that I'm going to talk about. License holder A, they're from Ohio. They started a company from the ground up here in Ohio. And maybe they have operation in a couple other places, but they're predominantly live here, maybe even born and raised here for the most part. This is their home. They love this place and they love everybody, very passionate about what they're doing in the space. Very frustrated too because they don't know how to connect with the consumers. Their products aren't selling and they're very stressed. The other group of people, we call those MSOs. MSOs, they operate many states, maybe many countries. They're just big conglomerate investment groups of people from all over with crap tons of money to throw at whatever, even if it loses, they're still paying into it. And what they try to do is absorb the little guy or girl or woman, whatever. And they go around waiting for a dispensary or a company to be in a bad spot and they buy them. And you don't even realize it. Before you know it, it's the same company that was in another location in town or another city, and they're just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they get a free license too.
Yeah.
So this is the reason I'm fighting for this, because I want people who want to do this to understand, first of all, you are putting yourself in extreme risks. It's a very tough niche. It's a tough business. It is something you have to be very serious about, and you have to be willing to take the necessary steps to be successful. You have to be willing to sacrifice. The difference between having a Gmail and a domain email, the difference between having a website and just a Facebook page. There's so many things. And if you really want to get a dispensary, to put in perspective for you, you need access to capital, or you need investors, and you need millions of dollars. And that is just the way it is right now here in Ohio. You look at Michigan, for example, who's been in the rec world and in the medical world longer than us, and it's significantly cheaper, right, Simon? It's a lot easier to get in their market.
Yeah.
But let's just say it out loud. Their market sucks because it's overcrowded. They've got, somebody said 800 dispensaries. Is that right? It's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that they they love the goose and the golden egg, but now they want 1 million of them. And no economy is going to sustain that. You know what I mean? There's a limit to how many of those you can have before people are going to start tanking. And you've got to be able to manage it so that doesn't happen. and they're not. They're just basically, here's a license, here's a license, here's a license, and it at some point it's going to blow up in some faces. That's all there is to it. It's just not going to work out.
All right, here's my question.
But unless we're being there,
Here's my question, Simon, for you. So, based on your knowledge and experience, okay, they want to cap it with the current sub bill to 400 dispensaries. So originally the capping was going to be at 350, which basically is what's already been given out to existing licensees. But now they're trying to go to 400. Now, part of issue 2 was that there was supposed to be 50 dispensary licenses and 40 cultivation licenses for individuals who met certain criteria. One of those could be a minority. One of those could be those impacted by cannabis crimes. And there's a few other qualifiers. You might know them better than I do. But there were some other ways people could qualify to get this. But this is all being ripped out. Do you think that there's any chance that there's going to be enough people to we're going to be able to educate people enough to understand how important it is that we fight for this equity program to make sure that people still have access to what they like to call the 3B opportunity, the 3B license? Or do you think people should start realizing that the state's going to say 400 is enough? And I don't know. Do you think 400 is enough? I think there should be a little bit more. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you start doing some research and look at the number of cannabis users, where they're located, and that kind of thing, then you can decide where to put them and where not to put them so that they're more equitable for the whole system. It doesn't have to be, we're going to say 400. If you've got 10, 11 million people in the state, 14 million, whatever it is, and all
I
of
don't
a sudden
know.
you've got 5 million cannabis users that are centralized in Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus. Well, maybe that's where you should centralize some of the, new dispensaries and not worry about the number that you have, just the number that are needed to serve, right?
Yes.
What's your audience and what's your demographic and how are you going to serve that audience, equitably with the right number of dispensaries? I mean, it's not rocket science, and the numbers are there at the DCC to, start putting those things together to figure out what's equitable. Because I don't think 400 is. I don't think 400 is the right number. But once again, I think there's things that need to be figured out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my next question for you, Simon, is going to be about the hemp world, and this is something that's very, very, and I want to hear the audience reaction to this too. Should restaurants and bars and potentially head shops be allowed to sell hemp drinks, or should the dispensaries be only ones selling hemp drinks? I've been talking to license holders to get their input, and I'll tell you what some license holders told me after you tell me what you think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm one of those people that believes in free and open markets. So I don't think compartmentally markets is a smart idea from the first spot, especially when they're so similar. You know what I mean? Because you're working with hemp, you're working with marijuana. They're essentially the same plant, except for differences that we all know, right?
Right.
So why you take one and make it a gas station drug and talk it down and out and over and below, while the other one you're going to make millions off of. It's just like, you're shunning one to make money on the other. And it needs to be fair and equitable for everybody because there's benefits to both, right?
Right.
And I don't think that, and the way they treated the freaking growers. I mean, when they initiated the program in Ohio, they were like, yeah, grow it. We don't have any system or businesses for you to sell it to or any advice for where to sell it or how to sell it. But hey, you know what? Go ahead and grow it. So they didn't do it as a service at all. And I just think, honestly, I'm starting to think that the legislature just likes attention. Because, honestly, the stuff should be together. You know what I mean? It should be, if you're going to sell it in bars and restaurants, then do the weed the same way. You know what I mean? Just make it the same for all of them. You know what I mean?
Selling weed at the bar, the restaurant, dispensary inside the
Are we already
dispensary?
selling intoxicants in one spot already? I mean, already,
That would be wild. I mean,
no, man. I mean, if you're going to open it up, open it up.
well, I think what I'm getting at here, and just so I could just give you that cliffhanger, license holders don't seem that excited about selling hemp drinks.
I'm sure they aren't. But
you're right.
The point is that the market's there, and do you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, the market is there, and I think that in a sense that hemp drinks that are being produced, to my knowledge, especially ones that are being sold here, a lot of them, it varies on where they're getting their material from. And I think that this is something that hemp producers in Ohio have spoke on a lot, is that a lot of products that are being produced or things that have intoxicating cannabinoids in it or hemp products or whatever are being shipped in from China and everywhere else, and we're not utilizing the stuff we're growing here, in the sense that we're growing it here and then we're sending it somewhere else, or they are making a few things here, but under very different circumstances than what medical or licensed recreational people are doing. It's a different program. From the way I looked at it, the Department of Agriculture oversees the hemp part, and the Division of Cannabis Control oversees our medical recreational deal. And the Sub Bill 56 wants to take the DCC, the Division of Cannabis Control, and turn it into the Division of Marijuana Control. So they want to put that old word back in there. Another thing I don't like. I'm all right with DCC. I think. Let me say this real quick before you say something. I know what you're going to say. Something. I think DCC, and I think we were talking about this the other day. I think it should be its own agency that is just more centrically focused in. I think trying to make commerce put it in a tab on their browser just makes their life a little more complicated. I think that cannabis is its own entity, its own business model, and they should be running it. And we should have people from different modalities. Well, the Division of Cannabis Control, the Florida Pharmacy, and the Agriculture, they should all be working under one division, that is a separate agency that people can go to, that is handling everything with people who are diverse in these areas. Some of them have already been with this since it started, and others, they still don't know what they're doing. So I think that's still where we need to fix that. And I do think we need an age limit for him. There is no age limit. We need to have some clear understanding about that. There is a big confusion about hemp clones, cannabis clones in general. Well, I can sell clones because they don't have THC, but then the agriculture director says you can't sell them because any clone that's going to produce more than 0.03% THC would actually therefore be a cannabis marijuana plant, which therefore would be federally illegal.
Right. Yeah.
See, it's all messed
No,
up.
this is the whole thing, that we don't need to keep doing this. You know what I mean? It's like if we came up with a cannabis and hemp bill, I would be totally stunned, but that's where it needs to be. You know what I mean? I feel like they need to be in league with each other. They need to stop the competition between the two. And, it's gone back decades, the weird animosity between hemp and marijuana. I've never understood it. Probably because I don't want to, but because it's inane, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to regulate it together. I don't think you take hemp and sell it in bars and restaurants and then say that you can't do that with recreational marijuana, because it's like, if you're selling intoxicants, you're selling intoxicants, right? And it just needs to, I just feel like it all needs to be together. You know what I mean? It just needs to be, here's hemp and here's marijuana. Here's where you can get it, and that's kind of it. And the regulations need to sort of be in league with each other instead of competition with each other. Does that make any sense?
Well, it does in a way. So from your perspective, you think that, so you're okay with these ancillary businesses, call them that, ancillary business, hotels, hospitality businesses, whatever, selling these drinks or whatnot, but you think they should be expanded further to where they could actually like sell other products like pre-rolls, flour, and things of that nature, concentrates?
Well, yeah, my point is that you how do you say yes to one and not to the other?
Well,
Right?
I just think that from my observation,
you're selling intoxicants, right? What do you say?
well, I would just say from my observation and my experience with hemp drinks, I thought the goal with the hemp drinks were not to make them intoxicating. I don't know that I've knowingly had a Delta 8 drink, but I think that what people are doing with the hemp drinks, and what my understanding from what I'm hearing is the goal with that is to drink something that isn't intoxicating, but you can still drink at the bar with your friends, but you're not drinking alcohol. For those who are interested in drinking something besides whatever the fake drinks are now, they got like those non-alcoholic beers and whatever that taste like crap. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think people are looking for something else where they can still hang out with their friends.
Oh,
I don't know that people are want to get intoxicated from these drinks. I think that's where there's this. That's
well,
what I'm trying to understand. Like, is that really what people's goal is, or they
is
just
it
want something else to
is it
drink?
well, is it a mixer for an alcohol drink, or is it a standalone alternative? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I had was a hemp drink that was just regular hemp.
Right.
It from my understanding, the way it was prepared, and I watched him prepare it, it didn't have anything intoxicating in it. I did not get a psychoactive effect from it, and I know that for those who have had experience with real, true CBD or hemp products, you actually can tell the difference. There is a different effect. Different effects.
Oh yeah.
And it might seem like you're intoxicated, but it's not necessarily the same thing. Um, but you understand what I'm
It's
trying to
not.
say, sir.
Oh yeah. No, I think that it becomes a dietetic choice. You know, when you're talking about non-intoxicating, that kind of thing. If you want to choose to drink hemp, that's up to you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And if it's not going to cause anything as far as new DUI laws or anything that you need to sanction, I don't think there's any reason to worry about it.
Right,
You
and
know?
that's another thing that I was getting at too is like I because right now the rules, and this is where we get into this consumption part, which is the next thing I want to talk about before we go, is because this is a real big topic in Sub Bill 56. The way it's worded right now, public consumption is not in there, but there's consumption on private property, consumption at your residence, and then there's this little slither of consumption at some venues. What we don't know what some venues are, but I think we can all kind of like laugh and chuckle when we know that a lot of bars for many years have allowed patrons to consume cannabis vapes and other products on patios outside. And with the state having the public outdoor smoking ban, which I remember when that first took place, that was a big deal. I remember it was no more smoking inside of buildings and things of that nature. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'll be fair. I'm a former cigarette smoker. I don't know if any of y'all know that. I smoked cigarettes, cigars, blunts, all that for many years. So I'm definitely not here to make anybody who does smoke cigarettes or blunts feel weird or talk down to you or not, because I was one of you at one point in time, and I found a way to get away from it. And I just want to say that there is a way to get away from it. You good there, buddy? I thought we was
Well,
losing you.
yeah, just technical issues.
Yeah, your phone got on you.
It,
so
it's off on me. Yeah.
so when we're talking about the consumption part of Sub Bill 56, and we're talking about these things, do you think that Ohio should look at like what's going on with New York? I hear this a lot of time. With New York, you can just smoke wherever you want, do whatever you want, and you can smoke a joint in front of the cops and they won't arrest you. Do you think we should be doing that in Ohio? What do you think about that?
Well, honestly, I don't understand at this point why we're revisiting a lot of this stuff because I mean, have you seen the clip of uh, Representative Huffman talking about just let these things basically happen in a couple of sessions. It's all going to be deregulated anyway,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
So if
well,
we're already talking like that, why are we still here? Why are we still? If you realize that in a session or two, we're probably going to deregulate it all, coming from the guy that wants to overstep bounds all over the place, it's kind of crazy, you know. Why don't we just do that now? Why do we have to
yeah,
wait a couple? I mean, why? It's not going to change anything. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, and then so
And
again,
it's
I think. Go ahead.
no, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why, regulation for regulation's sake, and that's what I was saying before about regulations to create arrest. That's what they're doing with legalization. With the riding in the car and the container you can have, and all this inane stuff that just shouldn't be anywhere near it. Just giving them more reasons to arrest people and cause court cases.
Yeah. Well, I got something else I want to talk to you about, and I want to talk about taxes. So right now, for those who don't know, the current recreational sales tax is 10%. This goes on top of whatever your local sales tax is for where you live at. So, like example being, If you live in Columbus, the tax here I think is 8%. Now they raised it. It was 7.5. So because they raised taxes up, so now that means when you buy cannabis as a recreational consumer, you're paying 18%. If you're a medical patient, you're paying just the 8%. So there is a savings there. It usually ends up being $10 or so, $15 difference. So every little dollar counts, especially if you're a frequent consumer. Um,
Yep.
so, you know, one thing that I said in my testimony, and this was brought up, rest in peace to Senator Schuring, who passed away. He had mentioned like what would consumers think about having medical patients not pay any sales tax, zero, none? Do you think that there should be a push to where medical cannabis patients with a qualifying condition, people who are like me who already have an active medical cannabis card, should not pay any sales tax whatsoever? I mean, imagine buying your cannabis and saving 18% instead of just 10. Do you think that that's just something that we should be pushing for?
Oh, most definitely. Less taxes are a good thing. And I think that when you look at the medical program and who uses it and that kind of thing, there's a lot of people getting discounts for, being veterans and income and that kind of thing. And I don't think that it's a bad consideration at all. I think it's something that should probably happen because these are people that need help, that are in a place to get it, to help them exist, and prosper. And I think that should be considered.
Yeah. So I think shout out to So Ohio Gas coming. Thank you for the comment. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate that. Um, and I think that one thing that I want people to understand about me is that I'm looking at it like this. We have absolutely no employment protection for cannabis consumers. This issue we're talking about with the car thing, this is something that comes up all the time. We got people smoking weed in their car, driving and smoking weed in their car. Their buddies are smoking weed in the car, passengers smoking weed in the car. So we need to have some common sense here. If you're driving a vehicle, you should not be smoking it, right, Simon?
Right. Well, no, it's like having a beer while you're heading down 270 is probably not a good idea, is it?
What
You
about the
know,
passenger? Should the passenger be smoking it?
uh, Probably not. But I mean,
Probably not. I mean, but what if they
no,
just hit a dab? What if they just did a dab? Just a dab. I'm going down the highway
no,
with my buddies in the
I don't.
car. They're not driving.
That's right. You need a stress bong hit because your kids are in the car. Is that right?
I remember days. I can't say when or where, but I remember times we had the bong in the car, and I mean,
Oh no, it was the 70s. I can talk to you about all kinds of stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
survived the
we don't
70s,
want
man,
to get
with
our
all kinds of
channel.
things.
We
Huh?
got to stay compliant here. We can't get our channel in trouble.
Yeah,
We got to see. We
there's
got to keep that.
lots of things down that road. Lots of things
So,
down that road.
but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I feel as though that issue two just needs to be our basis. We need to get away from all
Mhm.
the tweaking and the shell game of all the different bills, all the little tweaks to this or that, and we're down to what packaging you can have it in. The packaging is going to be
I'm
illegal.
glad you
Wait a
see.
minute.
Yeah, see,
What
I'm
now?
glad you brought that up. See, so something else that I want to talk. I'm glad you said this. Thank you, Simon. So this is something else that was in this sub bill was they wanted it to be like whenever you travel with your weed from the dispensary, you had to keep it in the same pack it came in. And many consumers, the packaging is very hard to open, especially the Mylar bags for people with arthritis and things of that nature. So a lot of those people, my girlfriend included, will take it and put it in a mason jar or something else like that to make it easier access. And then obviously, if we grew it ourselves, are we really? Oh, we don't have our own packaging, right? I mean, well, we do, right? But is it past muster? Was my Dollar General, Dollar Store mason jar account is an official approved storage container,
Well,
or is
I
my
went to the
sandwich baggie
trouble.
required?
Well, I went to the trouble of taking a hairdryer and peeling off the label and putting it on my mason jar.
And I
Does
just
that count?
uh, now they must think we're riding around with lots of weed that we need to store in the trunk because again, me personally, I don't think it makes sense to ride around with the maximum amount of weed. I mean, if you're going to a big party, sure, but I mean, do you really need to ride with 2.5 ounces? I mean, do you? Let
No,
me hear it in the comments. Let me hear in the
it's gonna be
comments.
a long trip. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
long trip.
it's gonna be a long trip. In the comments, I can't wait to replay this. But in the comments, do you think it makes sense? Now, I'm not against the limit. I think the limit should be higher, to be honest. But as it is right now, the current possession carry travel limit for Ohio and Michigan, by the way, is 2.5 ounces. Do you
Right.
think it is necessary on a daily basis from you going to A to B, to work, to your friend's house? Do you really need to ride with 2.5 ounces?
Well, honestly, I don't think it should be a question. You should be able to ride with what you want to. It should be like tomatoes,
Well,
man.
I,
If
well,
I got half a ton of tomatoes, I got half a ton of tomatoes. You know, I don't think,
but do I need
I,
it? Do I ride around with a bag of
well,
potatoes that I grew?
it's not a matter about need. I mean, let's revisit how many plants they want to let us grow and what those plants will produce if you
Well,
do it
that's a
right.
whole that's a whole separate discussion. Like, so if you want to roll into that, I mean, right now we're still at the 12 plans. I asked, could medical patients do 24 because they had made this statement that you can't get in trouble until you grow over 24. That's how it is in the law. I don't know if y'all knew that, but and that's wonderful, honestly. But I wanted it to be where medical patients got a little more incentive, a little bit more room. Can you buy unlimited alcohol? I mean, can you? Is it? I guess you can, right? Can't? There's no
Yeah.
limit. You can buy the whole store, right?
Well, I mean,
You,
yeah. It's never been. Yeah, I've never tried, but I imagine you probably can.
Yeah, so Alex says you save money shopping in Michigan. Yeah, I totally can respect and I don't disagree. You do, but you have said the best part is the drive back home is very stressful in the sense that if you are caught, and they decide to punish you or they think that you're trafficking or you've got too much weed on you from Michigan, then this is now a new problem. And this is why I had asked before and asked the Division of Cannabis Control before they became that, why they're not doing reciprocity agreements with Kentucky, with Michigan, and Virginia, as West Virginia. Is it West Virginia or Virginia? I can't remember. Which one's medical? Simon, is it West Virginia or Virginia? One of them's medical,
Honestly,
isn't it? Somebody search
honestly,
that for me. One of my
I don't.
fact checkers search it. Somebody asked
I
Chat GPT. Um, so no, wait, Siri. Siri, question. Is cannabis
You'll
medical?
need to unlock your iPhone first.
This junk, man. It's me, Siri. Like unlock. See, this is
It
this is
doesn't look like you have an app name question. You can search for it in the App Store.
this is why I don't use you, Siri. This is why even though it doesn't matter. We waste more time trying to figure out. It's wanting to allow to
Yeah.
it's asking me all these other questions. This is why we have Chat GPT because we can just ask Chat questions right now. And hey, Chat, are you there? He said, Soul House is Virginia. Okay, so Virginia has medical
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, so we have this system here. People trying to figure out information and they can't get it because our government, not just even Ohio, they just make it so dang on extra hard for you to just do a Google search to figure out what you need to figure out. This is why people are still confused about THCA. And we're not going to get deep into that because that's a whole nother show about THCA. We can do separate show on that if you want. Um, you still have a flip phone. Holy moly. Yeah. Yay. Okay, Cleveland Coast fan. I love flip phones, man. I had one of those the Motorola Razors back in the day. Did you ever get one of those, Simon? The old Motorola
Oh
Razor
yeah,
flip?
I had one of
Yeah.
the silver
Yeah.
bullet ones. Man, so wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. So, one thing I would say here is that we have reached a lot of people, but we still have more work to do. So I want to ask you in advance, Simon, would you be willing to come back on the show a couple more times or more
Yeah.
regularly to just help with questions, to help with information. And there's something else I want to touch on before we wrap today's show. And that's
Sure.
something that I learned at this meeting last night that I went to for the, I'll make sure I get this right, the National Cannabis Industry Association. I said it right, didn't I, Simon? Yes. And so what they've been talking about, they're watching it, they're going to make fun of me. Um, thank you for letting me come to y'all's event. I learned a lot. Um, is that in this big beautiful bill we keep hearing about, that they have removed this provision that basically protected dispensaries and people in states that have legalized, and that they removed this rider that's been around, I think they said since 2014, that this would put us at risk, all of us, even here in Ohio. Could you help explain a little bit more about that? Because again, this is more on a national, but this could have an impact on Ohio if they were to leave it the way it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's basically opening a loophole, you know what I mean? So that they can, you know, maybe just go to the blue states and blow up their medical programs. I'm not sure. But it's something that seems awfully selective, if you understand, that
Mm,
they're just sort of picking at that. And it's interesting because the president's come out and he's, appreciates the commerce and wants it to be there, but at the same time, he's appointing people that don't,
hmm.
right? So
Right,
he's giving us this double look, like we have no idea what's going to happen,
right.
just because it's just a bunch of confusing appointments amidst confusing, statements. Then they don't mesh. You know what I mean? The people he's pointing don't mesh to what he's saying as far as we want this to be legal, we want this to be a commerce, situation, everybody make money at the state level and all that. But the need is there for the federal legalization. I mean, this whole, you know, genuflecting we've done with the 39 states and the federal law, and the fact that we put all of our citizens at risk every day for arrest and harassment just because we like screwing with people that smoke weed. It doesn't make any sense, and it just I hope it grows to the point where we just finally get federal legalization, because this is having this, I don't know, catch 22, 23, and 24 with states like Ohio, where they're talking about, you can't share it. We're going to make it illegal to share. Well, it's already illegal to share under federal law. So it's kind of
Right.
already there.
Yeah, so
Um,
people are already sharing it. That's never gonna stop. I mean, I think that that's the thing, the good point you make. They're trying to enact laws that people are already breaking and are gonna keep breaking it no matter what they say. Nobody's gonna stop sharing with their neighbor or their friend because it's like you said, that's been kind of forbidden all along. And so they're saying in Sub 56 that they're okay with you sharing a clone on your property as long as you ain't getting cashed out for it. But don't you think, people who have clones, there is money and time invested to create them clones. You don't think they should be able to sell a couple clones here and there and make a couple dollars, just like what you said with the tomatoes, right?
well, yeah. I mean, it gets back to the farmers market scenario, and um, USDA and all that. You know what I mean? I mean, what are we doing, and how are we going to do it? Because if we could sell it like tomatoes, then that'd be great, because it's it's a plant. And yeah, I don't. I'll never see more regulations is the way to go with this. And I go back to the thing that Huffman was saying on the floor there in that committee, I think it was, where he said, just put up with this, because in a couple of sessions we're going to deregulate the whole thing anyway. Why not just do it now?
Yeah, I mean, what are they what are we waiting on? Well, I mean, like I said, I put up a list on here. These are some of the cities that have bans currently on cannabis here in Ohio. And I mean, this is just a massive list. And this may be a little
Yeah,
outdated, but
I
it's
think
still pretty current. Um,
yeah, I think it's up 125 now, actually.
Is it? So there's
So
been a couple new ones on there, so I need to update my list. So it's one of the situations where I think that people need to understand that this is something that we have to continue to provide information and education on, to continue to help people know what exactly is legal. And I'm just going to say a couple things right now, just to wrap this all up, so people understand that we're going to keep doing these videos, and just to make sure we recap what's really important. Issue 2 has not been changed. The law that we voted in to legalize cannabis for adults over 21 is still the same. No amendments have been signed into law by Governor DeWine. The current bill, Sub Bill 56, is a combination of Senate Bill 56, which was passed in the Ohio Senate, and some things that came from House Bill 160, which was never. It's still probably that number's probably that's probably dead, right? That's
I
dead,
think
right?
it's still there.
It's still
Yeah.
there. So 160 is a House sponsored bill by Representative Stewart. Senate Bill 56 is sponsored by Senator Huffman. And so these folks have been, at this for a while, especially Senator Huffman. And I think this is just, at the end of the day, we need to have more town halls. We need to have more ways to reach people, because I know everybody doesn't watch YouTube. I know everybody's not on Instagram. And I know that summer's coming and people are going to want to have fun. 4th of July is coming up. So, again, we still have to figure out how to work in some more of these sessions where people can ask questions and engage like we're doing right now, in person. And I did these town halls. This is my first time actually successfully doing town halls. I've been wanting to do them for 5 years, Simon. I finally
That's
got to do it. And it was
good.
great. It was
That's good.
great. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. And so
Yeah.
we are doing it again, and we had lawmakers in the building,
Yeah.
from the committee, so that's on this. So like this was the most progress I think that we have made. I think the fact that me and you are even on here together now is another sign of progress, and the other faces that we have now seen come out who are now joining us. And I just want to let you know that I'm working behind the scenes with people that they think are the bad guys, and I'm talking to them too, because I want to find out where these people's hearts are.
Right.
And that's what I'm after, is like the people you think could be the bad guys might not necessarily be the bad guys, but also could be the folks that was on our team all along, but just was holding back because they was waiting to see how this was all going to play out. So again, I just want to thank you again, Simon, for being here today. I know you have a busy schedule. I mean, considering you just got out the hospital, man, I really do appreciate you jumping in here with us. And I thank you for being here. So don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap our stream up here in just a second, but don't hang up the phone yet. And I
I'd
just
like
want,
to one thing if I can.
yes, absolutely, sir. Go for it.
Apologize. I think that people should focus on issue 2. Write your legislators. All 131 or 133 maybe at this point, and let them know that you want issue 2. You want social equity. You want criminal justice reform. You want anti-discrimination language, so you can rent an apartment and use your products freely without consideration of arrest, either by state agencies that'll turn you in or any myriad of other people. So just pound on issue 2, and that's what you want. And that's where our base has started. And we don't take the tax money and give it to law enforcement. They've gotten over $2 billion in the last 2 or 3 years from the federal government. They're as militarized as they need to be. So they do not need to receive any money. The general fund, we don't need to pour money from the marijuana cannabis community into the general fund for their whimsy at the state house. There's plenty of things that we need to support within our own community. Like I said, the social equity. So keep those things in mind. Go after issue 2, and make sure that that's what they're, putting their basis of thought on.
All right. Well, thank you again, Simon, for being here with me. And I just want to wrap today's show up by saying that, as we move forward in time, we're going to get to 1 million views. You didn't think I was going to say that. We're going
Yeah.
to have more events that are fun but informative. We are going to work with lawmakers. So over the summer, I hope to have some conversations with members of the Judiciary Committee and others to figure out how we can come together. If they really, I mean, because some things we just got to sort out. I just think we got to sort them out, or we're just going to keep going into this same cycle, and they'll never be broken. And just like we talked about earlier, some of these things are very common sense things that need to be done, and they need to be done responsibly. And like you said, the focus should be what's in issue two and how to build on it. Like one thing that they had said was that in issue two for the social equity, the program doesn't have directions on how to disperse the funds. Well, they should be the ones to create the framework to disperse the funds. That's not that then why make it impossible when we know it isn't? It's something they can just write up. That they could make AI write that up in one day, and we could have a framework. But they're saying the reason that the social equity money ain't being dispersed is because there's no framework in issue two to direct the Ohio Department of Taxation on how to disperse the funds.
I think we can give them some.
Get it done. Get her done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's so many things that we can build upon over the next several months, and I think I look forward to having more time with you. And if you have any other people that you think would be interested in coming on, or if you're watching this and you would like to become a guest on the show, it absolutely doesn't cost anything. We're using Zoom, so it's pretty easy to use. You didn't have too much trouble getting into it, did you, Simon?
No, not at all. It was easy, even for me.
Right, and you're using your phone, so you don't have to have any fancy equipment. And we would love to hear from you.
And I
I also I also want to let you know that if you would like to come on here and you would not like to show your face, but at least like to be able to speak, and maybe like in a radio style type format where we just have like a box that says guest speaker, and you don't want to keep your name out of it, we can actually facilitate that as well. Because I do understand, I'm very aware that some people are concerned about what family members might be thinking about their comments in regards to this topic. I understand people are concerned about what their employers could be thinking in regards to this topic. So I'm very sensitive to protecting people from harm when it comes to discussing this topic. And this is why I have done my best to put my face out here for some of those who don't want to put their face out here, to help, people understand that this is really an important issue that has a lot of facets to it, and that we definitely should continue to have these discussions. And I agree with you, Joshua. Tax money should be going to schools. Some of that money, and again, it's in there. That's part of that community fund. They should put that in the infrastructure. And so the fact that they want to slice down that from 36 to 26%, it just doesn't make any sense. And again, we've got a lot more to talk about, but I know everybody's brains can only process so much. It's Friday. Everybody's want to go medicate and get out in the sun. So again, make sure you tell me what you're having for dinner. What you have for dinner today, Simon? Are you eating anything?
Oh, I haven't decided yet. I think it's going to be a bison burger.
Oh, wow, you doing it big. Consider what you just did, bison burger. I don't blame you. Hey, do we have a
That's just,
Tuesday show? We don't have a Tuesday show. Believe it or not, we used to actually do this every single day. It was marathon work though. But another show is in the works, and it's going to be called Good Morning with Mastermind, and that is what we're calling it. That's what I'm calling it. And the difference between Good Morning with Mastermind and the show that you watch every Friday is that we will cover more broader things that I like to talk about besides just specifically cannabis politics. So we may be talking about things that are maybe more interesting in entertainment and maybe even controversial. One of the things I'll give you a preview of is we'll be talking about aliens. We will be
yeah.
talking about conspiracies. We'll be talking about a lot of different things you would never hear me talk about on the Friday show. We'll probably talk about a Good Morning with Mastermind. So make sure you watch it. Won't be no thumbnail, won't be no announcement. You'll have to keep an eye on. We'll try to keep it on the same day, but it's really just when I can do it, because Good Morning, it's always busy morning here at Mastermind's house. So we'll try to get it onto a schedule to where you guys can tune in at a certain time. I can assure you that it won't be 4:20 in the morning. and, and it won't be 4:20 in the afternoon. It won't be Good Morning with Mastermind if it's in the afternoon. So, another thing that we're going to continue to do, and I know there's some pushback on this, we will be utilizing AI, and we'll be utilizing AI to help us get the message to more people. We will be using AI to help when I am down and I'm not able to do some of the things I normally do. But I do want you to understand something about the AI that I use. The AI that I use is specifically trained by me, meaning that the information that it is using and making decisions on and saying things and whatever else it does and all these little things you see that right now, those come from my heart and soul. These come from my words. This comes from my inspiration and also from what I get from you, the Ohio cannabis community, and the bigger community, the people that watch my content. So it is a combination of what we do here together, what I have in my heart and soul, and what we've done so far as a community and as a state, that makes what my AI does possible. Some of y'all might remember we used to call it Weed Helper, and it's come a long way from being Weed Helper. We still have Weed Helper, by the way, and we're working on automating Weed Helper where Weed Helper will actually be a part of OhioCannabisLive.com, and that you will be able to talk to Weed Helper so that if you have questions and I'm not there, I'm asleep or something, Weed Helper will be trained in a way that will be able to answer your questions in an effective way, and it will be what we wanted to tell you. So we'll know that it's pretty close to spot on the right information. And obviously with AI, it makes mistakes. You have to watch it. You have to have oversight over it. So that's why we've still been, training it and building it over the last 2 years, to help it to understand what it needs to be successful. And some of you have seen the evolution of what we're doing with the AI technology. But I just want to let you know we're going to keep using it in a most responsible way. But we will not be using it to mislead anybody, to insult anybody, to defame anybody. I know there's a lot of AI videos being made that are just totally ridiculously inappropriate and very disgusting and maybe funny, but still those won't be the type of AI videos that we create here. I just want to say that. And so again, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you guys on the next stream. Make sure you hang tight. Simon, I'll talk to you here in just a second. And
Sure.
again, make sure y'all watch all those videos you can. We need to hit 900,000 by the end of this weekend because we are going to have the 1 million views and unlock the 1 million view party. Simon, you gonna be here for the party, Simon? You coming
I will
over?
be.
The
I will
party's
be.
gonna be here at my house. Okay, so you don't even gotta wonder
Yeah.
where it's gonna be. I just told you. It's gonna be here and it's gonna be great. And there will be so many other things going on. We are still planning on Turn Up this summer. Next event that I might be making an appearance at, which I said I would make an appearance at, will be the Token Float. So if y'all haven't heard of that, that's an event that's coming up soon. They did it last year. It's basically what it sounds like, token and floating. So it's a water event with some token and floating going on. So shout out to my folks, Token Float. I'll be putting that flyer out on my socials here to remind y'all. So y'all remember that that's the next event coming up. But there'll be other events I'm sure that I'll be covering or sending out information about, in addition to whatever I'm doing too. And if we hear anything from those lawmakers, we will definitely come live and bring you the most up-to-date breaking news, let you know what's going on. But in the meantime, I thank y'all for being here. And thank you again, Simon, for being here. And we will see you all on the next stream. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me at info@ohiocannabislive.com. And make sure you visit my website for more information at www.ohiocannabislive.com. Y'all have a blessed weekend.